The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Thank you, Tally Olson. I am back, comfortably zoned in Alameda, California, right across the bay from San Francisco, across the moat from Oakland. And as you know, I I'm speaking to the audii out there. I talk to the most interesting people on the planet on a regular basis. Today is no exception. My guest is Gary Sachs, a Kittatinny Camp alum, and we'll explain that in our conversation. Welcome to Comfortably Zoned. Tell the audience for a second, I'm Ralph Tyko, and I give good podcasts, so listen up, buckle down, listen to Gary. How are you, Gary?
I am great. I am just fantastic. What a great experience to get to remind myself of camp. It always brings great memories. I grew up there.
Yeah, as did I. I was a few years ahead of you, and I talked about the best counselor, tied with Big Trout, I ever had at Kittatinny was your cousin Alan Sachs. And I said, it was your cousin. And you said, which one? Which other cousin don't I know was your cousin?
I actually had 10 cousins there. I had Harvey and Richie Gotch. I had Michael Feynman, Howie Feynman, and Stuart Feynman. And then my brother, Ron Sachs, was there. And Alan Sachs and Elaine Sachs at the time was also there.
Wow.
And I'm sure I missed some, so my whole family was in camp.
You need to write the Kittatinny Facebook site, just add a paragraph talking about as many siblings as I've ever heard. The Cabots, the Levins, all of them were the Rates, all of them were Kittatinny siblings, but there weren't 9 of them, for crying out loud.
And there were many more from Clifton, New Jersey, which is where I was raised. And there's many people from my town. We had a whole bus go to Kittatinny out of Clifton.
Wow, so it really wasn't an away experience. It was more a family experience that was held at camp.
Correct. And,
okay.
And no one wanted to miss anything, so we were all together there, taking care of each other in our own way.
Kind of nice. My only family there was my brother, and strangely enough, we rarely got along at home before or since Kittatinny Camp, but at camp, we were very close. I kind of took care of him, being the older brother, and but that's where it ended. And but that was a good experience. What was your favorite year, and who were your counselors?
I don't remember many of my counselors, actually. I wasn't the best camper. And, you know, I never made it to Honor Society, which Alan Sachs, you mentioned, was in charge of. And I tried to pull every string to get nominated for Flaming Arrow. And because I had so many... Because I had so many relatives, I knew they couldn't reprimand me because I pulled so many strings. But I was not a good camper. I was actually a terror. And as a kid, and I look back on that saying, I was just this sort of spoiled kid. I wasn't the greatest athlete, but I loved camp. I loved the experience and the bonding, and I think one of my favorite things was, the idea when we used to have inter-camp games, and a visiting camp would visit camp, and they would make announcements over the loudspeaker about things that we didn't have, like parachute jumping or water skiing events, and we had horseback riding through the town. They would just make announcements that these groups are meeting, and we didn't have them. And it was just a matter of showing off to the other camp, and I loved that, and I still remember that.
Oh, that's nice. Did you ever have a bad year at camp?
The first year I was there, I'm sorry to interrupt you. The first 2 years, I went pretty young. I was really, I think, 5 or 6 the first year I went, and I was extremely homesick, and I hated it. And I ran away one year. I went all the way down the hill. They had to pull me back, and it just took a while. I was too young to be sent away, and I almost didn't think it was a good thing. I just didn't want to not do everything my cousins and brothers did. I was that type of kid. And, so those first 2 years were a little rough on me. But then it was totally over. Then I look forward to going, and I loved camp.
And your best year, what was that?
Nothing in one of the best years, I think, when I was in the show Oliver, and I was Oliver. And that had quite a memory for me. And Jerry Bach was the music director, and he was on Broadway. And, and I'm not a musician and I'm not an artist, but it was quite an experience. And it was an amazing experience. Looking back.
Jerry Bach was a great guy, and he died tragically too early. He was an up-and-coming director on Broadway, musical director, and he followed in the footsteps at Kittatinny of Jerome Robbins, who was then Rabinovich as a camper at Kittatinny, and he went on to I think it was West Side Story, or so great tradition of athletes, musical people, and human beings. Just they, for some reason, Henry got a lot of. Well, he was cheap, so he got a lot of bad rap about that, but he was able to put together a staff that was incredible. Counselors had bonded together and, stayed year after year, kept coming back. It was a great camp. What did you miss about not staying home in the summers?
Well, I used to feel like I actually miss my bed.
Okay.
The comforts of I was in a bunk, and in August it was cold, and I don't like being cold, and I used to think it was, so I miss my bed, the comforts that I had. Not that, I didn't miss anything else, but I just miss the comforts. I felt like people were staying home, going to country clubs and pools, and it might be the way, but I knew that camp was the best. but I miss my bed.
Okay, that's a good thing to miss, by the way. And there's nothing like the comfort of your space, one space, not just the bed, but one space, the room, the ambiance, whatever it is. So I understand. Did you go on to become a camper waiter, a busboy, counselor?
I did not.
Okay.
I could never understand working at camp because I was always a camper. So as soon as I became of age to work, I wanted to, become successful and do something. I actually became a waiter in the mountains. I waited tables in the Catskills when I first left camp, and I loved that. I grew up there, and I had this Jewish upbringing, and just worked my tail off. But it was a great experience right from camp to wait tables, but I never wanted to go back to camp as anything but a camper.
Okay, and did you go back to visit once in a while? You ever spend a few days visiting camp after you left?
I only went and drove through once. I live, I live in New York. It's not far, but it's not close either.
Yeah.
But my cousin Harvey goes up all the time.
Oh, still does.
My cousin Harvey Gotch is my cousin, first cousin.
Oh wow, another name.
And we're close.
Nice. Say hello to him. He's another one who is very informative about the area. And for those of us who are so far away and didn't drive back then, I'm learning a lot from him. So please pass on my good wishes to him. And tell him this, that his cousin gives great podcasts. And that's you.
My brother sends his regards to you, Ron.
All right.
He remembers you actually.
Well, I'm sorry for those memories that I instill. I was not, like you said, a happy camper either a lot of the time. And spoiled rotten, let's face it, amongst a bunch of people that were spoiled rotten. But they wouldn't be if their parents couldn't afford like $500 a year, and that was in those days, the 50s and 60s. $500 was a lot of money. So one was being spoiled just by that experience. And so I never felt guilty about it, but it was fun. I send a shout out. I'm going to put this on the Facebook website of Kittatinny and give a shout out to the Trouts, Marge and Dick. They were utmost in my memory, and of course, like I said, Barbara Burton. I reunited with her through my original Kittatinny Camp blog, which later became the mainstay of Kittatinny Memories on the Facebook website of Kittatinny. So delighted for that, delighted for the people who have come out of the woodwork. And Gary, you've been a great guest.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure. And it's really nice to recall all these memories, good memories. And
yes,
they'll never go anywhere. They're always with us. What age we become and wherever we go, and whenever I'm with anyone from camp, we come right back to the same memories, and it's really great.
If I said to you the artesian well, you'd know what I was talking about.
Exactly.
Is that a good example? Is that a good example?
Totally.
All right. May the waters of the artesian well in your mind stay as sweet as they were then.
Right.
Thanks for the memories, Gary. Talk to you soon.
No problem, Ralph. Thanks.
Thank you for listening, everybody. Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. I am the weak link of that network, and my stuttering reflects that. Be well, everybody, and adios, and happy trails.
Thanks.
The proceeding has been a Comfortably Zoned Network production. You are advised to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, your children and grandchildren out of military recruiting offices and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy trails.